It shall be done!
Hollywood's biggest stars, or Hollywood's biggest nightmares? Some celebrities inspire, others not so much. Some stars get famous for talent, others for controversy. Who's the worst of them all? Stick around because this list gets ugly. Number 20, Mo'Nique. When you call out Hollywood's biggest power players, you better be ready for war. And Mo'Nique? Well, she went all in. Mo'Nique, an Oscar-winning actress and comedian, should have had Hollywood at her feet. Instead, she found herself fighting for a place at the table. She publicly accused Oprah Winfrey, Tyler Perry, and Lee Daniels of blackballing her after her success in Precious, 2009. Why? Because she refused to do unpaid press for the film, something she says cost her career opportunities. In a now infamous 2018 interview, she called for a Netflix boycott, claiming they offered her $500,000 for a comedy special while Amy Schumer got $13 million. She said, "Why is it that we, as black female comedians, don't get paid our worth?" The controversy exploded. Some backed her up, while others called her difficult and entitled. And it wasn't just Hollywood elites. Mo'Nique attacked fellow comedians like Kevin Hart and Steve Harvey, calling them out for being sellouts. Harvey responded on his talk show saying, "This is the money game. This ain't the black man's game. This ain't the white man's game. This is the money game." Despite her reputation, Mo'Nique never backed down. After years of battle, Netflix settled a lawsuit with her and she finally landed her own special. But did her fight for fairness ruin her career, or did Hollywood prove her point? Mo'Nique once turned down a role in The Butler because the pay was too low. It later became a box office hit. Number 19, Steve Harvey. On camera, he's all smiles. Off camera, his own employees have been given strict orders, "Do not approach me." Steve Harvey may be one of TV's most beloved hosts, but behind the scenes, he's built a reputation for being difficult, especially to his own staff. In 2017, an internal memo leaked showing Harvey banning his employees from talking to him. It read, "Do not attempt to walk with me in the hallway. If you open my door, expect to be removed." This was just the beginning. Harvey's former co-workers have described him as demanding and dismissive. He's been accused of firing people without notice and even skipping rehearsals, expecting others to make up for it. One former employee said, "If you weren't useful to him, you were disposable." And let's not forget his biggest TV disaster, the 2015 Miss Universe fiasco. Harvey announced the wrong winner, crowning Miss Colombia instead of Miss Philippines. The mistake caused global outrage, and many blamed him for being unprepared. To make things worse, he made jokes about it for years, despite Miss Colombia saying it was traumatizing for her. But the real controversy? Harvey often contradicts himself. He once shamed Mo'Nique for speaking out against Hollywood, yet in 2023, he claimed Hollywood tried to cancel Me Too. So is he a victim of the industry or just a boss with a bad attitude? Harvey was once homeless, sleeping in his car for 3 years before making it big. Number 18, Katt Williams. He's one of the funniest comedians alive, but behind the scenes, he's a walking time bomb, leaving chaos wherever he goes. Katt Williams is a comedy legend, but his wild antics offstage have made more headlines than his actual jokes. He's been arrested over a dozen times, with charges ranging from assault to weapons possession. One of the most infamous? In 2016, he got into a fist fight with a 17-year-old kid and lost. That's not all. Williams has attacked fans, employees, and even fellow comedians. In 2012, he was accused of slapping a Target employee, and in 2018, comedian Tiffany Haddish revealed he threatened to fight her backstage at a comedy event. His reason? He didn't think she was funny. His interviews are legendary too, but not in a good way. On a 2018 radio show, he insulted the host's hair, mocked Kevin Hart, and accused Hollywood of stealing his ideas. When the host clapped back, Williams reportedly pulled up outside her station, ready to fight. Despite his controversies, Williams remains a fan favorite, even winning an Emmy in 2018. But with a rap sheet longer than his comedy specials, will he ever stay out of trouble? Cat Williams once led police on a high-speed chase on a three-wheeled motorcycle. Number 17, Damon Dash. Once a king in the music industry, now he's burned so many bridges that even his closest friends have walked away. Damon Dash helped launch Jay-Z's career, co-founding Rockefeller Records. But instead of running an empire, he built a reputation for being arrogant, aggressive, and impossible to work with. His infamous feud? Jay-Z himself. After years of partnership, Jay-Z cut ties with Dash in 2004 and took full control of Rockefeller. Dash never forgave him, claiming in interviews that Jay-Z stole the company from him. However, insiders say Dash's attitude and reckless spending made him impossible to work with. And the drama didn't stop there. Dash also feuded with Kanye West, calling him disloyal, and publicly insulted Kevin Hart, claiming he made him famous. Meanwhile, Hart fired back, saying, "Damon Dash is the reason people tell you to never do business with friends." His personal life is just as messy. He's been sued multiple times, including for unpaid child support, fraud, and copyright theft. In 2019, police arrested him for owing over $400,000 in child support. From millionaire to financial ruin, Dash's fall from grace is a lesson of how ego can destroy everything. Damon Dash once claimed he doesn't pay for anything because money is a mindset. Then he got sued for millions. Number 16, Stacey Dash. She went from being a fan favorite in Clueless to being completely shunned by Black Hollywood. What happened? Stacey Dash was once a rising star, known for her role as Dion in Clueless, 1995. But in the years that followed, she became one of Hollywood's most controversial figures, alienating herself from the black community with her far-right political views. In 2016, Dash called for an end to Black History Month, claiming it was unnecessary and separating us as a nation. The backlash was immediate, with many celebrities, including Bet, where she once worked, mocking her ignorance. That wasn't her only controversial take. She also supported Donald Trump, claiming Oprah Winfrey was too powerful and dismissed systemic racism. On Fox News, she criticized the #OscarSoWhite movement, saying, "If you want to be included, stop complaining and work harder." Her biggest downfall? In 2019, she was arrested for domestic violence after allegedly hitting her husband. The charges were later dropped, but the damage to her career was irreversible. Now, she's desperately trying to re-enter Hollywood, even apologizing for her past remarks. But for most, it's too late. Once a Hollywood darling, Stacey Dash is now Hollywood's ultimate outsider. Stacey Dash once ran for Congress, but dropped out after she realized she had no political experience. Number 15, Tyrese Gibson. One day he's crying on Instagram, the next, he's in a feud with The Rock. Tyrese Gibson is the definition of unpredictable. Tyrese Gibson built his career on smooth R&B hits and action-packed Fast and Furious movies. But over the years, his public meltdowns and feuds have turned him into one of Hollywood's most unpredictable celebrities. His biggest social media disaster? In 2017, during a bitter custody battle for his daughter, he posted a tearful video on Instagram, crying uncontrollably and pleading, "What more do you want from me?" Instead of sympathy, the internet turned it into a meme. Then came his public feud with The Rock. When Dwayne Johnson landed his own Fast and Furious spin-off, Hobbs and Shaw, Tyrese raged on Instagram, calling him selfish and blaming him for delaying Fast 9. The Rock responded with a simple laughing emoji. The spin-off went on to gross over $750 million, while Tyrese was left looking bitter. Beyond Hollywood drama, Tyrese has also been accused of manipulating relationships and being overly controlling with his partners. His ex-wife even filed a restraining order against him. Despite his talent, Tyrese's oversharing and erratic behavior have hurt his reputation. Will he ever learn to keep his personal drama off social media? Tyrese once claimed Will Smith gave him $5 million to help with legal bills, only for Will Smith to later deny it. Number 14, Wendy Williams. She built an empire by tearing down celebrities, but when the tables turned, could Wendy Williams handle her own medicine? Wendy Williams is one of the most infamous talk show hosts in history. She made a career out of spilling celebrity secrets, throwing shade, and asking the questions no one else dared to ask. But her blunt and sometimes cruel style has landed her in hot water countless times. Her biggest feuds? Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, and Method Man all publicly called her out for spreading false rumors about them. In one of the most uncomfortable interviews ever, Whitney Houston clapped back at Williams saying, "If this were back in the day, I'd meet you outside." Wendy also infamously exposed Method Man's wife's cancer diagnosis before the rapper had even told his family. Furious, he blasted her, calling her an evil woman with no morals. But karma eventually caught up with Wendy. In 2021, her personal life fell apart. Her husband cheated on her, had a baby with another woman, and Wendy spiraled into substance abuse. Shortly after, she lost her talk show, and her health declined rapidly. For decades, Wendy thrived off celebrity drama, but in the end, her own scandals became bigger than the ones she reported. Wendy Williams once fainted live on air during her Halloween special, sparking endless conspiracy theories. Number 13, Cuba Gooding Jr. He once had Hollywood in the palm of his hands, but now he's more famous for court cases than movie roles. Cuba Gooding Jr. went from an Academy Award-winning actor, Jerry Maguire, 1996, to one of Hollywood's most controversial figures. In recent years, he's been accused of sexual misconduct by more than 30 women, and that's just the beginning. His downfall started in 2019 when he was arrested for groping a woman in a nightclub. Soon, more allegations surfaced, with women accusing him of inappropriate behavior, unwanted touching, and harassment. The charges kept piling up, and in 2022, Gooding Jr. pleaded guilty to forcible touching of a woman, making it official. He went from Hollywood star to registered offender. But his scandals aren't just legal. Behind the scenes, he has been described as erratic and aggressive, often getting drunk in public and making inappropriate comments to reporters. His behavior has damaged his career beyond repair. Once a promising actor, Gooding Jr. is now stuck doing low-budget films and facing lawsuits, left and right. From show me the money to show me the lawsuits, his Hollywood story is one of the biggest career collapses ever. Cuba Gooding Jr. was once banned from a bar for allegedly biting a woman on the shoulder. Yes, really. Number 12, Nick Cannon. He built an empire on comedy and entertainment, but his words and actions, well, they've sparked backlash that won't be forgotten anytime soon. Nick Cannon went from being the funny guy on Nickelodeon to one of Hollywood's most controversial stars. While he's built a successful career hosting Wild 'N Out and The Masked Singer, his off-screen remarks have overshadowed his talent. In 2020, Cannon faced massive backlash for making anti-Semitic and conspiracy-laden comments on his podcast. He suggested that Jewish people controlled media and finance, repeating harmful stereotypes. The backlash was immediate. Viacom CBS fired him, and he was forced to issue a public apology. But that's not the only reason Cannon is controversial. His personal life is just as messy. He has 12 children with 6 different women, openly stating that he doesn't believe in monogamy. Critics say he's reckless and irresponsible. But Cannon, he insists he's building a legacy. He even admitted he doesn't get to spend enough time with all his kids, sparking huge debates about modern fatherhood. Despite his controversies, Cannon remains one of the busiest men in entertainment. But with an ever-growing number of kids and past statements still haunting him, will he ever shake off the backlash? Nick Cannon once said he'd stop having kids when God decides. A year later, He had 3 more. Number 11, Whoopi Goldberg. She's an EGOT-winning legend, but some of her opinions have sparked outrage, controversy, and even got her suspended from TV. Whoopi Goldberg is one of the most respected actresses and talk show hosts in Hollywood, but her outspoken opinions have landed her in hot water multiple times. Her most shocking controversy came in 2022 when she downplayed the Holocaust on The View. She stated, "The Holocaust wasn't about race," claiming it was just about man's inhumanity to man. The backlash was swift and brutal, with historians and Jewish organizations slamming her ignorance. ABC suspended her for 2 weeks, but instead of backing down, Whoopi repeated similar claims later that year. That wasn't her only controversy. She's also defended problematic figures, including Bill Cosby and Roman Polanski, leading many to question her judgment. Even her own co-hosts struggle to rein her in. Whether it's making tone-deaf statements about race, gender, or politics, Whoopi often refuses to apologize, even when she's completely wrong. Despite her controversies, Hollywood still respects her, but the real question is, how many more times can she push the limits before she's canceled for good? Whoopi Goldberg's real name is Karen Elaine Johnson. She chose Whoopi because of her love for fart jokes. Seriously. Number 10, Chris Brown. He's got the talent, the fame, and the fortune, but his violent past keeps coming back to haunt him. Chris Brown could have been the next Michael Jackson, but his anger issues and violent history have overshadowed his talent. His biggest scandal? In 2009, assault on Rihanna, which left her with visible bruises and shocked the world. Brown pleaded guilty, but the damage to his reputation was irreversible. Since then, Brown has been involved in countless legal issues, from bar fights to altercations with fellow artists. In 2013, he punched Frank Ocean over a parking space, and in 2017, ex-girlfriend Karrueche Tran filed a restraining order against him, claiming he threatened to kill her. Even his fans aren't safe. In 2016, Brown was accused of punching a woman for taking a photo at a nightclub. He was also arrested in Paris on suspicion of rape, though the charges were later dropped. Despite everything, Brown's career continues to thrive. He still sells out concerts, wins awards, and dominates the charts. But will his past ever truly be forgotten, or will his violent reputation always follow him? Chris Brown once claimed he owns 14 Burger King restaurants, but nobody can actually confirm it. Number 9, Jussie Smollett. What happens when a Hollywood star fakes a hate crime? Jussie Smollett found out the hard way. Jussie Smollett had everything going for him: a successful acting career, a hit TV show, Empire, and a growing fan base. But in 2019, his life took a bizarre turn when he staged his own hate crime in an attempt to gain sympathy and publicity. Smollett claimed that 2 masked men attacked him, shouted racist and homophobic slurs, and even put a noose around his neck. The media rushed to his defense until the police discovered the truth. The attackers were 2 men he personally hired, and security footage, well, it showed them buying the rope. As the evidence stacked up, Smollett refused to admit guilt, leading to one of the most embarrassing downfalls in Hollywood history. In 2021, he was convicted on 5 counts of disorderly conduct for lying to police and sentenced to 150 days in jail, though he still insists he's innocent. The worst part? Smollett's fake crime hurt real victims, making it harder for people to believe genuine cases. From rising star to Hollywood outcast, he's now more famous for his lie than his acting. Jussie Smollett still claims he's innocent, despite overwhelming evidence proving otherwise. Number 8, Kevin Hart. From box office gold to Oscar controversy, how did Kevin Hart go from beloved comedian to Hollywood's most divisive star? Kevin Hart is one of the biggest comedians in the world, but his career hasn't been without controversy. In 2018, he was set to host the Oscars, a dream gig for any entertainer, until old homophobic tweets from 2009 to 2011 resurfaced. In them, he joked about hitting his son if he ever played with dolls. The backlash was swift. The Academy gave Hart an ultimatum: apologize or step down. At first, he refused to apologize, claiming he had already addressed it several years ago. Eventually, after stepping down as host, he issued a formal apology, but the damage was done. Beyond the Oscars drama, Hart is known for his arrogance and insensitivity in interviews. He's cut off female co-stars, mocked struggling actors, and dismissed serious topics with jokes. In 2019, he survived a near-fatal car crash, and instead of taking time to recover, he rushed back to the spotlight, making people question whether he even learned humility. Despite his controversies, Hart remains a box office giant, with his films grossing over $4 billion worldwide. But will his ego and past mistakes ever fully leave him alone? Kevin Hart's height, 5 feet 2 inches tall, has been the subject of more jokes than anything else, but he embraces it. Number 7. Kanye West. Ye. He went from redefining music to becoming one of the most unpredictable and controversial figures in pop culture history. Kanye West was once a visionary artist, praised for his innovation in hip-hop. But over the years, his public meltdowns and erratic behavior and offensive remarks have made him one of Hollywood's most unpredictable stars. His biggest downfall? In 2022, Ye made anti-Semitic comments, claiming that he was going DEFCON 3 on Jewish people. The backlash was immediate. He lost brand deals worth over $1 billion, including his long-standing partnership with Adidas. But Ye's controversies didn't start there. He's publicly insulted fellow black artists, including Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Big Sean. He even interrupted Taylor Swift's award speech at the 2009 VMAs, claiming Beyoncé should have won instead. His personal life is just as chaotic. From his failed marriage to Kim Kardashian to his bizarre presidential run, Ye is constantly making headlines for all the wrong reasons. Despite his meltdowns and outbursts, he's remained one of the best-selling artists of all time. But as his behavior gets more extreme, many wonder, has Kanye completely lost his way, or is this all part of the show? Kanye West once claimed he's $53 million in debt, but still bought a $14 million ranch months later. Number 6. R. Kelly. He ruled the charts for decades, but behind the scenes, he was hiding one of the darkest secrets in music history. R. Kelly was once one of the biggest R&B stars of all time, known for hits like I Believe I Can Fly and Ignition Remix. But behind the music, he was a serial predator, using his fame and power to exploit underage girls and young women for decades. His disturbing behavior was first exposed in 2002, when a videotape surfaced, allegedly showing him engaging in illegal acts with a minor. Despite the evidence, Kelly avoided jail, as the victim refused to testify. For years, he continued his predatory behavior, recruiting young girls at his concerts, promising them stardom, only to control, abuse, and imprison them in what may be described as a cult-like environment. In 2019, the documentary Surviving R. Kelly blew the lid off his crimes, leading to his arrest and eventual conviction. In 2022, he was sentenced to 30 years in prison for sex trafficking and racketeering. Once a beloved music icon, Kelly is now one of the most hated figures in entertainment. His story serves as a chilling reminder of how power can be used for evil. R. Kelly is reportedly illiterate, despite writing some of the most iconic R&B songs of all time. Number 5. Bill Cosby. He spent decades telling young black entertainers how to behave, while secretly living a double life filled with crimes and deception. Bill Cosby was once America's dad, known for The Cosby Show and his uplifting speeches about education and morality. But behind the scenes, he was hiding one of the most shocking scandals in Hollywood history. For years, Cosby shamed young black entertainers, criticizing them for their poor morals and telling them to pull up their pants. But while he preached respectability, he was drugging and assaulting women behind closed doors. The allegations started trickling in the early 2000s, but by 2014, over 60 women had come forward, describing eerily similar experiences, being invited to meet Cosby given a drink, and waking up disoriented with no memory of what happened. In 2018, Cosby was convicted of aggravated indecent assault and sentenced to 10 years in prison. However, in 2021, he was released on a technicality, sparking outrage. Today, Cosby remains one of the most disgraced celebrities in history. His story isn't just about the fall of a beloved TV star. It's about how power and influence protected a predator for decades. Bill Cosby was once the first black actor to win an Emmy, but now his legacy is forever ruined. Number 4, O.J. Simpson. He went from being America's sports hero to the most controversial man in modern history. Was justice ever truly served? O.J. Simpson was once a football icon, an actor, and a cultural phenomenon. But after the 1994 murders of his ex-wife Nicole Brown Simpson and her friend Ron Goldman, he became one of the most infamous figures of all time. His trial, dubbed the trial of the century, captivated the world. Despite overwhelming evidence, including DNA matching at the crime scene, bloody footprints, and erratic behavior, Simpson was acquitted in 1995, sparking nationwide debates about race, power, and justice. However, karma eventually caught up with him. In 2008, he was convicted of armed robbery and kidnapping after trying to steal back his own memorabilia at gunpoint. He spent 9 years in prison, but when he was released in 2017, he still acted like a celebrity. What makes O.J. even more disturbing? He has never acted like an innocent man. He once wrote a book titled If I Did It, describing how he hypothetically would have murdered Nicole and Ron. He frequently jokes about the case, showing zero remorse for the lives lost. Even after all these years, Simpson remains one of the most polarizing figures in history. Was he truly innocent, or did he just get away with murder? O.J. Simpson still gets paid by the NFL, collecting a pension that's protected from lawsuits. Number 3, Suge Knight. He didn't just run a record label, he ran it like a crime syndicate. And if you crossed him, you might not live to tell the tale. Suge Knight is one of the most feared men in music history. As the co-founder of Death Row Records, he helped launch the careers of Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, and Tupac Shakur. But behind the scenes, Knight ruled with intimidation, violence, and unchecked power. He's been accused of orchestrating beatdowns, shaking down artists for money, and even being involved in the murders of Tupac and Biggie Smalls. While there's no proof of tying him to the crimes, many believe he knows more than he lets on. His rap sheet is terrifying. He's been arrested for assault, weapons charges, and even running over a man in 2015, killing him on camera. That final crime led to a 28-year prison sentence, sealing his fate as hip-hop's most notorious villain. Even in jail, Knight remains influential, giving interviews and allegedly still pulling strings in the industry. But with his violent history, one thing is certain, he made more enemies than friends, and his downfall was inevitable. Suge Knight once dangled Vanilla Ice off a hotel balcony to force him into signing away song royalties. Number 2, Russell Simmons. He built a hip-hop empire, but when the truth came out, he didn't face it, he fled. Russell Simmons helped shape hip-hop culture, co-founding Def Jam Records and launching the careers of legends like Run DMC, LL Cool J, and Public Enemy. But behind his legacy, a dark truth lurked, one filled with allegations of sexual misconduct spanning decades. In 2017, at the height of the #MeToo movement, Simmons was accused by more than a dozen women of sexual assault, rape, and harassment. Among them was model Carrie Clausen Callahy, who claimed Simmons forced himself on her in 1991 while director Brett Ratner looked on. Author Syl Lai Abrams and filmmaker Jennifer Jarosik also accused him of sexual violence. Instead of facing the allegations, Simmons vanished. He fled to Bali, a country with no extradition treaty with the U.S., and has lived there ever since, avoiding any legal consequences. Simmons denies all allegations, claiming he took multiple lie detector tests to prove his innocence. But with so many victims speaking out, his legacy has been permanently stained. From music mogul to fugitive, Russell Simmons' name is now synonymous with scandal and disgrace. Russell Simmons once claimed he found peace in Bali, but his accusers say he's just running from justice. Number 1. Sean Diddy Combs. Once hip-hop's golden boy, now hip-hop's biggest scandal. Is Diddy's empire crumbling under the weight of his dark secrets? For decades, Sean Diddy Combs has been one of the most powerful men in the music industry. As a producer, rapper, and entrepreneur, he shaped the careers of countless artists, including the notorious B.I.G., Mary J. Blige, and Usher. But behind the flashy suits and billion-dollar empire, Diddy has been hiding a history of abuse, control, and exploitation. In 2023, multiple women filed lawsuits against Diddy, accusing him of sexual assault, human trafficking, and workplace abuse. His ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, alleged she was physically and sexually abused for years, forced into degrading situations, and constantly monitored. Days after her lawsuit went public, Diddy settled out of court, raising eyebrows. The allegations don't stop there. Other women, including former employees, described Diddy as a manipulative, power-hungry boss who uses his status to intimidate and control those around him. Even fellow artists have suggested Diddy's behavior is far darker than the public knows. Now, as more victims come forward, Diddy's once unshakable empire is on the verge of collapse. Will he be held accountable, or will he use his power and money to dodge the consequences? Diddy once said, "I thought I was untouchable. Now the world is proving him wrong." Surprise entry: Oprah Winfrey, Hollywood's untouchable queen or master manipulator. She built an empire on kindness and inspiration, but behind closed doors, is Oprah hiding a much darker reality? Oprah Winfrey is one of the most influential women in the world, a self-made billionaire, media mogul, and a beacon of inspiration for millions. But some insiders paint a very different picture, claiming Oprah has a ruthless, controlling, and manipulative side that she keeps hidden from the public. One of the biggest shocks? Former employees have described working for her as suffocating and toxic. Staffers from The Oprah Winfrey Show claim she ruled with an iron fist, demanding absolute loyalty and cutting off anyone who disappointed her. In a 2010 interview, actress Monique accused Oprah of humiliating her on live TV, blindsiding her by inviting her abusive family members onto her show without warning. And then there's the Oprah-Jeffrey Epstein connection, something conspiracy theorists have run wild with. While there's no evidence linking Oprah to Epstein's crimes, skeptics question how much she really knew about the elite circle she moved in. Perhaps most disturbing, many of Oprah's protégés have faced serious scandals, including Dr. Phil, Dr. Oz, and even Harvey Weinstein. Did she unknowingly elevate predators, or did she just look the other way? For years, Oprah has carefully controlled her public image, but the question remains, is she truly Hollywood's beloved queen, or is she just another ruthless mogul hiding behind a smile? Oprah was once fired for a news anchor job because they said she got too emotionally involved in her stories. That was wild. Who surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. If you love deep dives into Hollywood's biggest scandals, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. More jaw-dropping stories coming soon. Don't miss out.